Drop. Drop.
Hello and welcome to the Friday wrap up live with me, Landy, brought to you by David Gockstein. Today is August 21st, 2026. And of course, we're going to be looking at Bitcoin, but well, we know about Fridays. Fridays are a live stream for a reason because I bring on guests that I want to talk to. And I've been looking forward to having this particular guest on the show. And that is one Wolf Bitcoin. Oh, wait, it's Cade Bergman behind Wolf Bitcoin. I'm going to bring him on here in just a moment, but we're going to discuss likely Bitcoin. I mean, that's probably the direction we're going to go. But I'm actually looking forward to seeing if he has any questions for me about price action, not just about Bitcoin, but anything else, because this is the day when I get to indulge a bit and have some fun, and get to talk to people of like mind in this industry. It's pretty awesome. Also, David said unreal to the graphic that I posted, a beautiful picture of Cade. And David is a little sour about some pictures lately, but I don't know. He's going to be replaced by the icon, the living legend out of New Jersey, Rex Liberty anyway. So I'm not really sure what David's thinking about right now. It's like, it's kind of getting hit all at once, but we're here for a little bit of a recap, and then we're going to bring Cade in. Bitcoin has methodically and very quickly in the lower term timeframes, pretty methodically, but very quickly on the daily, hit some of our overhead targets that we had discussed, um, earlier this week, and exiting the compression, big expansion. Talked about this. Now, this is this has actually met some criteria that I'm going to talk about a little bit later when Cade's on here. That does change a few things, because there was no immediate rejection out of some of the higher liquidity levels overhead. We've actually seen it push through, especially on daily closes. We see that the high is just shy of $80,000 at 79,518. But again, above 65 and 65.5 specifically, I was looking for the local highs on its way to go test 68 to 70. We got that. In particular, when did we get that? We actually talked about this on Wednesday, I think, right? Let's actually change this around so I can actually see. Yes, this was Wednesday. We talked about this in the 68 to 70 area. Take it $2,000 at a time. Above there, 70 to 72, 72 to 74, 74 to 76. And I had mentioned above $76,000, things get interesting. Well, we have a close above $76,000 right at $78,000. And of course, above there, I talked about 78 to 80. Again, another $2,000 at a time as general zones of interest. But I really wanted to point this out and how beautiful this is. Lower term time frames. We're going to turn on the mess of lines, the crayon drawings, if you will, that do work so beautifully. And why do I always stress, working monthlies, weeklies, and dailies? It's because in the lower term time frames, you're going to see for these particular levels, you're going to see the Bitcoin price action will gravitate to these zones. And when it starts to break above or below, it'll either move on to the next zone or reject and come back down to some of the more important zones. And we can see that off of the initial pump here, breaking 65, we not only moved to those local highs, we ran right to, again, I talked about 68 to 69, but really it's about 68 to 70. Well, we got 68 to 69, sat on top of 69K, moved to 70,000 to 72,000. You can see it rejected initially, came down for a couple hours, got on top of it, moved to the next area, 74 to 76, even stalled in our mid zone there at around $78,000 with some profit taking. Of course, that was a monthly higher low structure from the bull market. And then above there, next big area to tag, 78 to 80, and has tagged the bottom side of that zone. Just beautiful price action. I love to see it. This is the awesome stuff. So I'm not going to bore you all with my takes. By the way, it's 78, 300 is the actual weekly level. And it is, closed right on it. And now, a little bit of open sell off here, but realistically, we're going to talk about where things could potentially pull back to, but I'm going to bring in Cade because Cade sits around, and listens to folks like myself and others on the trading spaces that he runs for Wolf Bitcoin, of which he is a co-owner of. He is the host of the Wolf Bitcoin Spaces. He also hosts a bunch of interviews on the Wolf Bitcoin account. Of course, about Bits over there, co-host, streaming all the time through the Wolf Bitcoin account. But Cade's the man. He's the man behind the Wolf. And we're going to bring him in now and say hello. How you doing, Cade? It's good to
What is going on, dude?
It's been fun. It's fun. We've been waiting for this for so long.
Yeah, honestly, way too long. We finally made it happen. I'm hyped. Hyped to be here, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I say that it was all because you were like, you know what? If this price doesn't move soon, I might just have to change the account name again. and then price started to move again. It was like, nope.
What's funny is like I'm looking back and like the amount of maxiness we saw at the all-time highs was so intense that I think many people like because Bitcoin outperformed so hard against the rest of the market that we were like, dang, is the crypto world even alive? Like, is anything happening? Since then, though, I guess I've sort of had like a few updated thoughts on it because I'm like, there's definitely some stuff happening with Hyperliquid. Ethereum is definitely going to be in the conversation. Solana is definitely not going anywhere. It seems like in the mid.
Yep.
So I'm sitting here going like, okay, so what are the Bitcoiners saying? And I see all these Bitcoiners who were just like completely against anything but Bitcoin, all of a sudden going like, well, I guess like Hyperliquid's here, kind of, and I guess tokenization is going to happen on Ethereum. And I'm like, okay, got it. All right, so interesting. I'm not against the rebrand for Wolf Bitcoin because I do. I mean, majority. I mean, for me, like for a long term hold, Bitcoin's probably going to be the only one. The rest could be a great trade. But who knows, man? I mean, we've seen some crazy action in the crypto world the last couple of days. What a great time for this stream, right?
Yes, because it's been something that we've been looking at, especially in this very, very tight compression here for price action, getting very, very boring, as you know. You've sat on the stages, right? And you've gone around the panel with all the different traders, gotten our thoughts, and you could tell that we were getting bored with price action because it's just like, well, I don't have a whole lot to say. So it's just sidebar. There's other things happening in the world that we end up talking about, which is good. I mean, look, you run, in my opinion, one of the best spaces out there. Obviously, I love the Wolf Bitcoin crew. I love what you built there. I love the ATC crew. There's a lot of crossover between these crews. And, you were just recently on David's show on the breakdown, and then you had him on your show. And man, I thoroughly enjoyed the camera movement that you had going on his show. And then I thoroughly enjoyed the promo image. That was one of my favorites recently.
What's funny is with the profile, I was like, I swear, I was like, it doesn't look that bad. I was looking at it and I was like, I feel like it looks kind of like him. I'm like, I feel like I got gypped here. My face is plump. I was like, I don't know. Like on the show, I was like, I don't know, dude. I was like, I feel like you made out better than I did.
Oh man, bro, you both got beat down hard. Let me just put it. There's no getting around it. You both got beat down hard in that promo image. That is kind of the highlight of the past month for me, to be honest. And that's because Bitcoin's just been going sideways doing nothing.
Yeah, it's also wild too, because like, so many of us, and it still could definitely happen. I know a lot of people are saying, well, it looks like that was the low. We see this massive God candle, it's over. Like let's the party's begun. But I'm still sitting here going like, yeah, but we never ever went back to retest like those low 40s, high 30s. I'm sitting here going like, I feel like we're still going to test that. I feel like we're not going to just not come back to that. But who knows? Well, I mean, if we keep holding here and we just keep trudging forward, I guess it's possible, but I don't know.
Here's something that you've heard me talk about a lot, right? Especially in regards to the macro stuff. And, I had Tony on recently, and Tony was talking about this move up. Bits was talking about this move up. As the range developed, I started looking more to the upside and gave my reasons for that as well. Bits, obviously, absolute legend. As soon as it started to rise off the low, he's like 77 before 55 or 72 before 55, right? He's just like, I'm locked in on that. And he called it. I was looking at, I'm waiting for conditions to develop. I'm not going to call it, right? We know that there's liquidity down below the range. We know it's above the range. I'm not going to call it. But I will shift with the direction. And the most recent shift was the bounce off 62.5 that I talked to you about, I think, last Friday or the Friday before, whenever it was. It raced basically from 62.5 to 65 again after rejecting there just recently. And it was kind of like, okay, this is going to resolve. I'm positioned well. Talked about it with yourself and many others on the Wolf Trading Spaces and the Market Talk Spaces. And, looking for this compression to resolve. And I've talked about this quite a bit. This is actually where, I do have a little bit of a different take, but Tony and I, when he was on here, he presented a really good case that I can make the case for too with my technical analysis. Because we see things very, very similarly. Talked about this with Bits as well. And I believe even Ash jumped on a stream. I jumped on with Bits at one point, like a week or 2 weeks ago, maybe.
Oh yeah.
And talked about some of the criteria that I'd be looking for. So, in general, favoring a move up could have went either way, but we got that move up. You've assembled quite the dream team over there in terms of analysts and traders. So it's like really brilliant to listen to them, especially as somebody that's been doing this for a long time, and them forcing me to look at things that I might not otherwise look at, if that makes sense. So, in price action for Bitcoin, you mentioned it, like everybody's talking about macro lows in. One of the big things though, that I've talked about and discussed with you and others on your space is this is a downtrend, right?
Still downtrend.
And this is just another low. But what would change things for me? Well, first of all, there is something significant that is occurring right now, but it's all about the close. Right now, Bitcoin on the monthly with 10 days left to go is trading above the last lower high. So we have a downtrending structure that, we confirmed that we were going to break down and it was going to turn into a bear market essentially when we got the trend break over here at 74.4, 74.5 or so. When we started closing below here, well, macro top is in. We now have a lower low. We moved from this lower low, though, into a lower high. So this actually becomes the criteria for a trend break back to the upside. That doesn't mean that the macro low is in. It doesn't mean that everybody needs to FOMO in now. But what it does mean is that there is something significant when we get a character change like that. And there's a couple different viewpoints that people have about that. And interestingly, what is significant is if we even close above the actual close open here, which is at $76,000 or so, that would actually be significant, but it wouldn't be a trend break in my book for the way that I do analysis. We would need to break above the actual lower high here at 82.8, which just so happens to be a retest of the higher low close. So pretty significant if it did start to close above here at the end of the month, because that would be a trend break, right? Just like we had a trend break to the downside, broken structure on a macro time frame like a monthly. Then we start looking for, okay, trend reversal setup. We did get a lower low. And if we do get a trend break back to the upside here, then in my book, I'd be looking for the higher probability plays. Not a foregone conclusion, but looking for the higher probability plays that we could potentially do something like go much higher, and then come back down for higher low, equal low structure, and then start forming that actual macro bottom where, maybe that's the macro low, maybe it gets swept, whatever. What would actually matter after a trend break is the higher low. So a lot of people will get FOMO into the initial move up, especially if it breaks above and closes above 82.8. That would be a reclaim of a lower high, not just the swing, but also the close open on a monthly time frame. If it was to get above there and above the basis band, you're going to see a whole bunch of people start freaking out. Bull runs on. We're going back to all-time highs immediately.
Oh, yeah. We've already seen that. It's already happening.
Oh, yeah. Well, trust me, it's going to get way louder if we break into the low 80s.
Like the highs prepared me for like everything. Yeah. Like I'm so glad that we were like daily talking about that all the way up and then watched it kind of cascade over. Like, I think that was like super invaluable for anyone who was in like the daily shows, because it's not that you're dead inside, but it's kind of like you have a certain swagger you can walk with in the market once you've seen something, a couple times.
Yeah. And that's it. What's funny is, a lot of people are excited right now, but as soon as we get some red candles, because what goes up will come down, whether it's remains bullish or not, it depends on structure, whether it's uptrending or downtrending structure, right? In this case, nice trend break to the upside, a little bit of daily higher low structure already in place. Very highly likely the daily is going to put in higher lows, even on a pullback, right? And I'll talk a little bit about some of the areas I'm looking in a little bit here, but in terms of macro structure, because it is really important. Everybody's talking about it. That's all anybody's going to talk about all weekend, all early next week. You're just going to be smacked in the face over and over and over again with the macro low is in, you missed it, I called it, blah, 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 blah. And realistically, even if we get a trend break, macro low isn't in because it's actually about the next move down. And it doesn't matter if we were to get a trend break, it needs to be on a close for me in the way that I do, in the way that I trade, the way that I evaluate price action. In this case, we need to see it above the swing high test of this last bull market high or low. So 82.8, any kind of close above there, that's great. That doesn't mean too much because it can become a deviation. You go lower. But what is the higher probability setup in most cases on a macro time frame? In most cases, not all, which is one of the setups that Tony and I talked about, is a potential deviation above 82.8. Really doesn't. There is some criteria that he has and I do have for where it would need to close for me to be confident in the macro low. But it could swing above it, break the trend, and then go right back down. That becomes a deviation of trend. That is a lower probability, but it is there are a lot of signs pointing to that being a very possible trade if that does occur on any closes on the monthly above 82.8. So it's all about the next move down, really, because if it does go in a higher low structure, well, then you've got a trend break. You would have a higher high, you get a higher low, boom, that confirms the macro low in. And then that's actually where you get in because everybody gets excited on the move up and then they're all depressed on the move down. And that's actually what you want to be looking for. Right.
Yeah.
So, and there is really two directions. This is where people feel like there's some sense of urgency when they see price go up, right? It's built into us. Green candles, just a sense of urgency. I missed it. I didn't get in, or I didn't get my full DCA in, or maybe you missed trades. But if you missed it, you sit back and you evaluate. You wait for daily setups if you're a trader. You wait for lower term time frame setups if you're a trader. But if you're an investor, if you're a long-term swing trader, yeah, sure. There's going to be people eating off this move. I got into a swing trade myself, but I didn't nail the low, and I purposely didn't nail the low. Like I wasn't trying to nail the low. I wanted to make sure that I was confident in the range that we were trading in, that we had a higher probability of heading back up, and I was still hedged. I put my stop on my short in profit so that if it did break the range to the upside, it would stop me out in my short position. And then I could just ride the long position. Same on the other side. I had my actual stop would have been taken. Oh, we have a special guest that just joined us behind the scenes here. We'll have to bring him in a little bit.
I feel like I know who it might be.
It's not. Maybe it's. Are you? If you flip your camera upside down, you can see his view of the world. But. It's not one of our other dear friends here, but who knows? He might hop in too because the link is the same. So, but one of the keys there is like I would have been stopped out either way out of that range break, right? If it went down, I was going to get stopped out of the long. Short would have ridden down, and maybe no position. Maybe it grabs a stop from one side, takes the other. Hey, oh well, fine. At least I made money. My stops were in profit. Well, now he's gone. Oh. But you know, the more pertinent like conversation is going to revolve around macro structure now. And what I do think is significant is that we are trading above the lower high close open at $76,000. So I'm curious, like, you know, you've been around a lot of traders now for quite some time and a lot of analysts talking about price action. You've come to the conclusion that you wanted to hear the extra sauce, right? Like no blind faith. Give me the real facts. What are both sides of this coin? You know, when you see a move like this, are you dead inside yet? Or are you more like, oh no, this is pretty exciting?
I'm not sure if I get it. Like, I think a lot of people get caught in two worlds where they want to invest, but they're also trying to trade this market and pretend like they're not feeling that way. Like, I don't really feel much of anything when I see this. I have a suspicion that we still need to go lower, and I think that's just been my gut feeling this whole, you know, pretty much for the last few months. So like for me, it doesn't matter so much. Like when I first got into trading, like in 20, this has been in the 2022, I was still in Seattle. I spent like a year and a half with like a trading group. I learned like the institutional candles. It was like in a range and then it drops below it, gets everyone out, and then it goes higher kind of thing. And then vice versa to the top of the range. And so for me, like I don't panic because I know the money's going to come back down or come back up because it needs to take out that money there. And so for me, it's like, it's never really bothered me. Like I don't feel the FOMO once I've missed it. There's a period where I did, but I think it's because I was really, really eating or drinking the Kool-Aid of Bitcoin, which is fine. Like I think that's probably through everyone's journey. Like they find out what Bitcoin is, they learn it to a deeper degree, and they panic if they think they want more, and then they're like, oh crap, now I need to like trade this thing. But for me, like I don't know, like I feel like I understand Bitcoin. I think it's a really solid asset. It's probably going to fit in alongside a lot of other top assets. Probably makes sense to start investing into it. I think, and also plus everybody on our panels probably right around this, like right when Ruda was saying, I think the lows are in at 55 to 60K. Basically, everyone on the panel was cool with beginning DCAs there. We were like, we can totally go lower, but there's no reason not to start your DCAs. I was also in that camp. So I don't really feel much of anything when I see this. I'm like, this is great. I had the high chance of this rejecting, coming back down, and us having a few days of just like pain for the bulls. They'll be quiet. We'll be back the next day kind of thing. So I don't really feel much of anything.
Yeah. Well, you are well on your way to potentially learning technical analysis to a deep degree, and then becoming a dead inside trader as well.
Yes. Yeah. I'm not. I will say I'm not day trading the markets. That's just not my. That's just not where I. Yeah. That's not where I spend my time.
Consuming.
It's time consuming. But also, it's just not my interest. I've tried to spend like 6-7 months straight just trying to get myself to want to look at the charts every single day, all day. That's just not my preference. I much prefer. I love Steve's strategy and yours and a few others as well. Just longer swing trades. It makes a lot more sense for me. Like for me, like the whole, you need to get your Bitcoins and you need to hold. I do get that a little bit, but I'm starting to realize that unfortunately it's just another asset to be traded. It's going to have massive drawdowns. You're going to have tons of opportunities to get in entries. So I'm not nearly as scared to be like, oh shoot, I don't have enough Bitcoin because the God candle's coming kind of thing. I don't really drink that Kool-Aid anymore. I could be wrong. I guess it could. I just don't think it will. So I'm kind of cool with it. I'm happy with the swing trades. And honestly, I'm lucky because all the traders here, every single day, we got like 10 experts coming on, absolute legends of their crafts. And like you say all the time, a lot of us coming to the same conclusions, different strategies. But honestly, if you're getting that kind of information every day, you at least don't panic every time we go up or down,
Yes. And that's one of the reasons why the puppet exists, is because there is a lot of misinformation and panic and FOMO and FUD. And it just kind of goes with the color of the candle and the aggressiveness of the move. And, we also, in the background here, we are joined by another guest here, surprise guest from the upside down world. This is Ash with a muted microphone. But I wanted to say hello to Ash. How you doing, Ash?
I'm doing splendid, sir. How are you both doing this fine, what is it, Friday evening for you if you use it as my Saturday morning?
Oh, wow. Yes. See, this is very interesting to me. So I'm still back here living on Friday, going to be talking about the Friday close. And here you are in the future with Bitcoin trading on a Saturday.
Yeah, it's at 125K. Did you know that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I was promised all-time highs by the end of the week, and looks like it only took Saturday morning.
Yeah, look, I mean, if I was to believe the hype on the timeline, you would think that we are at like $150,000-$200,000 right now for Bitcoin. That is like kind of the level of madness on the timeline for a fairly expected move. It was either going to shotgun up to the top side or was going to shotgun down to the bottom side. We've been just kind of waiting it out and, well, honestly, twiddling our thumbs and getting bored as hell. But what's interesting, obviously having Cade here, gracing this show with his presence, because Cade is, I think Cade could honestly give, Rex a run for his money as an icon. I mean, just look at this guy. right? Like,
Rex,
how
you
could
said?
you not want to
Oh.
support him? I gotta throw some trolls in the chat here. I gotta.
Let me look in this. Hold on.
Well,
It's
David was
very
saying
hard
there.
for other men to not use a PFP when Cade's got his very fine chiseled jawline
Wait,
live.
I'm just seeing David's new one. Right? Why is his brother naked?
That's yes. This is part of the. It's part of the evolution of the of Goxstein Media.
He says I started the pump.
Well, I
Oh,
mean, look,
this
Rex
is fun.
Liberty is an icon. Cade is an icon, and Rex Liberty is really gunning for David's hosting seat on
Got
the
it.
breakdown. And and I think that David has decided that he's got to up his game. So
Got it.
he's got, I mean, how do you compete with a rock star that had a #1 hit in New Jersey? Like he's an icon, right? And then he's been bringing on other icons like Cade, and it's wild. Then he talks to a puppet all day. So, he's got some work to do. He's got some work to do. But I see that Ash has some charts up. I want to bring some stuff up here real quick that I would like to show Cade, because he hears me talk about this stuff all the time. And it is, I'm not I don't share charts on, the timeline a lot. Because I do videos 3 times a week where I discuss pretty much everything that I'm discussing there, and everyone can see my chart. But one of the interesting things here is, we've had this type of a move before. So on the weekly here, when we first sold off, we broke the trend off the highs. We hit $80,000. We pumped up to 98, right? We sold off down to $60,000. Many remember me calling for 58 to 60. We eventually got 58, but we hit 60. On the weekly here, though, we had a trend changing structure. We had a lower high and then a higher low to higher high. And then it was straight back down to actually test 59. We got some swing structure here, lower high to lower low. We swept 58, by the way, in there. And, what do we have now off of the lows? We have another lower high to higher low, and now up. Well, what did we just see before in the bearish period prior? We saw a big compression at the highs, weekly expansion down, and then as we started to mean revert, we got a lower high, higher low, higher high. Where are we now? We had a lower high, lower low. We had a lower high, higher low, higher high. So we are shifting structure locally. So this technically is a trend breaking structure on the weekly. You would consider this a trend reversal to trend break setup in a system like mine, where it is price action based and closing candle based. What does this mean, though, in the context of one of the things that I've talked about a lot is, why do I want to see above 82.8 closed? Above on the weekly, that would be a nice break, right, on its way to break a monthly structure. So this weekly here at 82.8 is that monthly lower high close. If we were to break above this is a Bollinger Band based on volatility. If we break above that while breaking a monthly and weekly structure like this, which would be a reclaim of this low side structure over here, then we're looking for expansion probably up into the 90s, maybe even more, to the mid to low 90s. But if it started to really get above and start to hit weekly expansion above 98 to $100,000 up here, that would actually be a lot of distance off of the current low. And that's where the move starts to, any kind of move that comes back down starts to look more and more like it has a higher percentage chance of becoming a higher low or equal low structure on the monthly. So this is just a weekly view of, hey, we have a structure change on the weekly. We have a higher low in place. And if this closes anywhere here or higher by Sunday, not only will we have a higher low locked in, but we'll also have a local trend break on its way to test some of the important areas overhead at another higher high structure that is very, very important for a monthly close area. That would look really, really interesting to me. You might remember me calling for 58 to 60 when we were trading up here before the big sell-off. And I had mentioned, I'm not going to call it a bear market if we sell off. I was looking for 78 to 80. We hit 80. We slashed through. I was looking 58 to 60. If that failed, then I would say, we're going into a bear market. We lock in this high. But one of, I'd mentioned a few times on your stage and many other places in video format that I was looking for 58 to 60 as a very, very important area. If we did break trend, confirm the macro high, and then start a bear market, that 58 to 60 would be very, very important. And this is why, because we were moving from a bear market into a bull, and we had our expansion, and then we were compressing the entire time. We were compressing. So it's either we hold this area here, like this low here, or we will start expansion down to the next lows, which would be your upper 40s to 50s, and then potentially more to some very, very deep targets over here. 35K is a big one. So if we were to lose the 48 to 50K here, the next big area would be expansion down to 35. You probably heard that a lot. 35 is a number that comes up a lot. That's a lower third standard deviation of the Bollinger Band lining up with that. But this is an area. I'm not saying that it has to go there, by the way. Some others have very good cases that they've made for it going there, and they've even tracked this move up and are looking for this to do a trend break and potentially hit, 88 to 90 and potentially even more. I think that many do have invalidations above 98, though, like myself, on a longer term time frame. That doesn't mean that price doesn't come back down hard, by the way, because it will at some point retrace hard. Because even if we were to do something crazy, and I'm talking crazy, like let's say we get wild, which is available within this structure, by the way, and run the bands. What if we ran back to all-time highs, right? Does it really matter? No, that's the initial move after a trend break. Even if this is purely hypothetical, but because of the band setup here, you can see a lower second band run right back to the upper second when you first start expansion to the downside. Usually you'll get a reaction right back to the upside. And then it's still all about the next big move down. Yeah. The first move up is not the one. And even if we don't do something like that and we just come up a little bit higher, first move up isn't the one. It's all about the move down and seeing where it bottoms out. So that's something that I talk about a lot on Cade stage that I wanted to show Cade directly. As I'm not a big chart poster. And there's a lot of guys that do a really good job of that. And you can just call me a lazy puppet. But
it's good that you brought that up visually, because like that's probably why I don't have so much panic when it goes up or down. Like for example, if it runs all-time highs, you're gonna, like you said, we're gonna feel the intense pressure of the you missed it. But unless you're unless you're trading that specific range on that time frame, it almost doesn't matter. Like especially the people screaming and hollering, like they've been spot buying probably since forever ago, and they're probably not selling either way. And I'm like, well, so what? You're telling me you got into that specific trade up there, and that's why you're so happy? I'm like, that's not the same thing. And plus, you're going to get that entry. It doesn't even matter. Like you're going to get the entry. And if you're that good, if you're like OTG, you can short it. You can pick up both sides of that trade, or you can at least hedge. I think it's in my head. I think it's because like we know like the markets go up and down, and like they need to grab liquidity so they can go the other direction. Like because I know that's true, it oscillates. There's like no panic on either direction, because it's like it's cool. Like you said, it's cool if we go to all-time highs, because like we're fine. Like we're still in this structure. It's really interesting. I like that. I like this a lot. Yeah, this is great.
Yeah, this is something I talked about with Bits. I even talked a little bit about with Tony. It's Tony. I had a lot of fun talking to Tony because it was my first time really kind of having a discussion with him. Yeah, and he tracks markets very similar to the way that I do. Whereas like Ash, I'm gonna share your chart up here. Ash tracks markets differently than I do. Bits does a little bit different, but we're all working from the same data set. And the big thing is that it's about invalidations. And I believe Tony said his invalidation is right around the same as mine, is like 98,000. It might even be a little bit lower. I'm not sure. I'd have to go back and watch the stream again, or scroll his timeline, because he's given his invalidation. So have others that are looking for lower, even now. David asked me this a lot. He's been saying this to me for a while. Like, what is your percentage chance now that we've moved up off of the lows? He asked me earlier today, or yesterday or the day before, whenever it was. We've talked about it quite a bit though lately. Is like, what's your percentage chance the macro low is in here? I said 30% chance that it forms here because it's definitely not here. It's just a lower low. If we get a trend break above 82.5, hey, that increases the chances that the macro low could potentially be confirmed here and in to about 50-50 because we need to see the next move down no matter how high it goes. And I think that you understand that. I understand that. So does every trader. And a lot of people don't really understand that just because we're traders doesn't mean that we're not Bitcoiners. It doesn't mean that we don't hold spot. We've been very, very adamant. The 65 and 60K and under ranges, that's all buying opportunity, man. Like it doesn't matter how low it goes. That is opportunity all day. I've been DCAing it. And if I don't get a chance to DCA lower, I just slide whatever wasn't hit up to the higher low or in and around there. And obviously tracking lower term timeframes, not just going to sit there and wait for the monthly to confirm and miss out on, potentially a 20 to 40% gain. I'm tracking weeklies and dailies like everybody else. There's a lot of folks that don't understand that nuance. And I see Ash has joined us, and I'm curious, Cade, if you had any questions for me, like any burning questions. You don't have to have any, but before we kind of move over.
The burning one really is just like it's not even a burning question. I guess it's just like in my head, like I can so understand when we see like a super zoomed out, like a 5-year chart of Bitcoin or something like that. And oftentimes you'll see us come back all the way down and test that previous range. And then for me, like I could care less, if we do drop all the way down to those levels or not. But in my head, I'm like, when we see like these runs up like this, and then the attention is back and everyone's saying I called it, regardless of which direction it goes, I feel like it's so unhealthy, like for people to be whipped around like this. Like that's why I like our spaces. I hate that it's whipsawed like this, because in my head I'm like, after enough times, people should be like, hey, just because we had a couple of green days doesn't mean like now's the time to get excited. Like why do we have to move like this? Like why do we have to think like this and act like this? In my head I'm like, there's got to be a way out of this like pit of just nonsense, which is just people who are not qualified to be speaking on certain things, screaming and hollering with like the loudest voices, the biggest accounts. In my head I'm like, there has to be a way to reverse this, where the right people should have the loudest voices, because they'll have they'll be a little bit more responsible, but also they have to prove, like they'll have the proof, they'll have the analysis, not just pure speculation. So in my head, I almost wanted to go down to 40 just so they can be like, oh my God, like I got again, so that the whole so I'm just like, I don't know. I'm so torn on it, dude.
Just another dopamine hit, brother. It's just another dopamine hit.
That is what you brought up is something interesting. So, and Ash, I think you and I have discussed this. Maybe we haven't discussed some of the really long-term stuff like the 3-month. I've discussed this. I know with Bits. I know with Natalie. Nat, I see you. Shout out to Nat. I've discussed it with Ryan and a few others. But this is a quarterly time frame, right? So this is going back to the beginning of Bitcoin's history. It's log scale, so it's a little bit different looking than you might see on a linear scale chart. But log scale chart it
should be log too, by the way. That's the correct form.
Yeah, because it's a longer term chart. But here's what's interesting. I love Bollinger Bands. It's just a 20 simple moving average. John Bollinger, created a really good system for gauging volatility. And we have, we're pumping off of the basis band. Something that I do think is very, very interesting, and that I think that a lot of people discount, is that we've been in this entire from 2022 lows, bear market lows. We went from, you see these bands dropping off the screen. So this is a lower first. This essentially means, hey, we were trending outside of, we were hitting expansion into 2021. Then we went into a bear market and we started to compress, and we have been compressing on the quarterly time frame for the entire time. And this is where, I do differ from some of the more bearish takes, but I know where, and I can even make the case for those bearish takes. But here's my counterpoint that I'm paying attention to. It's not that I disagree that they're wrong. They're actually on perfect target with the targets that they're estimating, and they're giving their invalidations of those. But we have not hit expansion on a quarterly time frame. The entire bull market to the current bear market that we're in, we have not hit expansion. And this is an inflection point right here. It's at $55,000 or $58,000. And we already hit it. That's one of the main reasons why the entire time it's been at $58,000. Almost it was 57 something to 58. Right. And I was looking for 58 to 60 on any kind of a move down that broke trend from the bull market. And this is the main reason why. It's the basis band on the quarterly, and we're in a compression. Typically what you'll see is when we mean revert and we're already compressed to a basis band, you typically get a nice reaction off of it. And because we didn't get the big expansion up, well, this reaction could be a low set, and the low would set above 82.8. So this is where a lot of things do change for me in particular. It doesn't mean that it won't go down, but I will tell you what would happen if it did go down on the quarterly. If we started to lose the basis band, you'll see this lower first will tick up to right around 31 to $35,000. You'll see this lower first tick up there, and that's the next target in any kind of a compression. For me, that would line up with support and areas, support and resistance areas of interest. And even when you nailed me down the one day, you were like, if I had to nail you down, at worst, what would you be looking at? If we broke down from 48 to 50 is fair game, but it's really about, there's a big monthly there at 45.5. And then below there, it's all about 38.5 to 42.2 for me. And I would still be putting that in play if we start to break down from 58, but enjoy the pump while it lasts. That's all I got to say. And we've got another brilliant analyst here. Surprise guest, if you will, appearance. And somebody that you don't get to talk to that much anymore, Cade. Because he's always, in upside down land. Yeah, so Ash, how are you, sir? Well, I'm reposting that you're also here. Let me see.
I like to arrive unannounced and late.
Yeah, and I just have to searching your tag, by the way, on X is a nightmare. Because
is it really?
Yeah,
Dev Engine, right?
It's Dev
Engine.
Yeah,
Dev Engine.
Yeah, OZ, but
knowledge, yeah.
I'm literally had to type out Dev Engine the entire way through to actually get your
some usernames do that. I don't know. It's like X. Like sometimes you'll type in one letter and it pops up, and then other people you literally have to type in the entire username letter for letter. I don't know. I don't understand it.
Well, Lisa I can find with an L, but I know her tag doesn't start with an L.
Yeah, it's like
which is really like
or something, right?
Yeah, I couldn't even tell you. I'll take your word for it. Yeah.
So
Japanese phonetically spelled out in English.
Oh, right. Is that how it works?
Could be. I don't know. I'm trying to think. It could be. I don't know. I have to see it. I have to pull it up.
Yeah. Well,
I like that you've got the bowl and then a broken heart. And
yeah. What is this, Ash? What does this mean, bro?
Look, I like to have fun with my charts, right? So,
I mean, I love inverted charts as much.
I was going to say it is inverted. I don't know if anyone's.
This is not inverted. This is in fact the correct way up.
Oh, I forgot. We have to invert our screens because he's in upside down world. I get it.
I told you, man. I got to watch your charts upside. I got to stand on my head to look at yours. You got to stand on your head to look at mine. Just this once, though, I will uninvert.
Wow, thank God. Whew.
Yeah, you're right. I'll let the blood pool back to, I guess, your
I was starting
your
to have
central
a
area.
Attack.
That's okay. All right,
and an existential crisis, but that's for
you're safe now.
Oh, thank you.
You're safe now. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Look, I've been keeping it relatively quiet lately, but I'm on the very same page as you guys as I generally are, right? But I'm look, the timeline is bull drunk, which I'm all for. I think that's great. I mean, bulls have needed some hugs, some pats on the back, some love, right? So this has been a very nice and I'll be quite upfront, much larger of a push up than I was expecting for the week. I was closed out on longs at the top of the range in that 66.5 zone. I woke up, I was like, oh, cool, my TP got hit. And then I looked at the chart and I was like, well, golly gosh, that went quite a bit harder than I expected, right? But there's only really two things I'm looking at. And you touched on them earlier, Landy, right? It's show me a a macro high, and then a macro high low, right? Like just fundamental, basic market structure change and confirmation to prove to me that we are very close to, if not completing, the end of the bear phase, right? And if that's the case, fantastic. But like I read some things this morning that I sort of quote tweeted and stuff, and some of them are lines like we've broken all key levels, and I was like, hold on a second, which
All
key levels does? Yeah, all of them. And I was like, I'm like, oh, your chart must look different to mine, or I don't know what you're talking about. But like, it's and I get it, right? There's there is some euphoria, clearly. People are excited with what could be happening.
Yeah.
But you have to take the chart for what the chart says, and I see that. I see so far we have not breached this level, which to me is I don't want to call it my line in the sand, but if price proceeded to, do this, right? Even if it breaches there and it comes back down, which obviously at some stage it will, that there alone to me puts the likelihood of the bear still being on at a very, very low percentage, right? I don't expect to see these types of range breaks on these sorts of time frames and expect the likelihood of it being a deviation high to be very large, right? Very different on when we're talking about deviations of these sorts of ranges like we had been seeing, right? Those are different, right? Those are local ranges. This is obviously a breakout range, right? That has occurred, and now we're waiting to see what happens. How does the market digest this move? Because we've seen high time frame liquidity areas completely cleared, right? Obviously, we know there was a huge short squeeze. You could see open interest dumping as this price was expanding. You saw spot volume supporting that move, which was obviously really positive. Those are all really, really good signs. And now we're sort of waiting to see is, okay, well, where will the profit taking begin? Has it already begun? And what does the chart tell us during that? Are we going to see sell side absorption, right? And that's going to give us a very graceful pullback or consolidation before another leg, right? All those sorts of things. That's what's going to tell us what we're looking at. If we see high volume rejections and spot sell-offs, and we'd start to do that before we say breach this area, like say this is it, right? If it starts to happen here, well then that's less bullish, right? That's obviously less bullish. I'd be happy to see that up here. I don't want to see that here if I'm looking for bullish continuation. So like I am 100% like I'm ready for the bull market to be back, but I'm not gonna be the first to jump on the bandwagon, right? I'm not like that. So I do want to see.
And then analyzing backwards, I see mostly in the timeline. We want it to be higher, therefore now we will put analysis in that kind of fits that narrative.
Well, yeah. Like we'll start to see some where is it? We'll start to see like these sorts of things, right? Magnets and
oh,
shit
not the
like
magnet,
that.
bro. Not the
like
oh my god, it's way too long since I've seen that.
Like, oh look, it's here. Here we are. It's programmed. Let's
even added it's programmed.
Look, I just want to see this, man. I want to see this, and I want to see something. Well, golly gosh, let's do the path again because that's how it works. I just want to see something like this. That's all I want to see. Something that gives me a bit more of a structural sort of setup.
Yeah.
That would be absolutely lovely, right? Because then you've got a clear low, right? Lower high and a lower low and a lower high here. You've then set high low, high, and off we go. I think that's the most likely to play out. I just don't. And again, I'm wrong a lot. I don't have any concerns about that. But I just don't expect that we get up here and then this becomes a deviation and then we start coming back down here, unless there is something like a literal black swan event, right? Like which can happen. Obviously, that's the chart can't tell us for a black swan, right? That is the literal definition of it. I keep seeing people talk about like black swans, like tweets and things like that. I'm like, oh, no, that's just not how that works. So it's not a hard chart to read, or if you understand what you're looking for, at least in my opinion. I just want to see now, like, I don't think we're going to see over the weekend. I don't think we're going to see anything too drastic. I don't think that's what we're looking for over the weekend. I think you're more likely to see some level of consolidation, maybe a little dip or two. And then it's going to be what happens in that new week, right? What's going to happen in the new week? And I think that's going to point to, you're going to see things like, I mean, I haven't looked, but I'm assuming with BTC hanging out here right now and not dumping overnight in the Friday US session, you're probably going to see some altcoin expansion and things like that. But it's really simple. It's a pretty basic take, but it's the cleanest take I can get on the chart right now, and I don't see any reason to deviate from that unless price action tells me anything different. Let's wait and see if we can break the last high. And then if it does so, what's this look like? What does that pullback look like? Does it look like a graceful pullback, consolidation? Are we seeing low volume sell-offs? Are we seeing spot volume sort of consider like support that move, and then we go from there. So would love the bull market to be back, but I'm not about to start calling it before price action, at least in my eyes, gives me that data, guys. Yeah.
How dare you?
Yeah, look, one of the big things that you got to keep in mind is what we're retesting right now. So and this is funny because my bands are literally squiggly lines, so I love it. I can't beat the charges, and in this case,
Nope.
what are we really on our way to test? We got 78, right? It's all about testing that low 80. So if we were to take this high, we're likely going to test up into the mid 80s, right? If we're going to take 82.5, 82.8 and take that monthly high out, already taking the close open at 76 is a big deal. And I mentioned this yesterday and the day before, and probably the day before that if we were to take it 2K at a time on the lower term time frames, it has been $2,000 at a time, pretty much, give or take margin of error there. But above $76,000, things do get interesting because it's a monthly close open, lower high trend reversal setup on a higher term time frame. Right. So if we do get continuation, I would expect a retest of 80 and then a run towards that 82.5, 82.8 lower high structure on the monthly, which is higher high structure on the weekly. We went from, and this is something to keep in what you mentioned about, moving up, because this is not a structured move, where we did have structure here before the dump off, right? Even a nice head and shoulders in there. But realistically, this is an unstructured move. This is set up that if it does continue to push on, it's going to dump back hard. But the further it pushes up, the more likely it's going to dump back harder into a nice higher low. And then we can gauge from there. And if I turn on my squiggly lines, you can call them crayon lines, drew them myself.
You are not sharing your screen at the moment. Landy, you've still got mine muted.
Oh yeah, that's okay. If we were to, this is essentially what I was talking about. $80,000 is right here. If we're going to take this and we test 80, it's either going to reject or it's going to push on to this high side structure, which is the monthly lower high at 82.5, 82.8. And if we're above there, you're likely going to see a run to the mid 80s, right? The bottom side of this range over here, because it's a recapture of the swing. But this is extended, and this happens to line up. If we're going to keep this going, what I would want to see is we see that the basis band on a retrace is right at the top side structural area. On the close over close coming down, it's going to rise. You want to see this probably about $68,000 before this starts retracing. You want to see the basis band around 68, and upper first is in the $70,000 range. You've got upper second's going to start moving towards 76, even if this comes back down towards it. So you've got structural support. I don't have it on here. It was on here earlier for my support and resistance zones of interest. You want to see it line up and start to catch structure there exactly in the manner that you were talking about, Ash. But if we take those highs, there's nothing saying that if we start to recapture the bottom side of this range that we can't take the high side in the mid 90s and maybe even go for that 98 to 100. There's nothing saying that we can't do that. And oh boy, you will see that there's going to be people who are still looking for much lower. That's my invalidation. Close on a monthly above 98. You can push above there on weeklies. Close above monthly on a monthly above 98 to 100. That really starts to get distance off the low. And even closes above 82.8 on a trend breaking structure. You're looking at decent distance where you could get higher low structure, but you're probably looking for higher before getting that correction down much further, right? So in this case, for which you're looking for on a move like this, what do you prefer to see, like, on a longer term time frame? Because I see that you have brought up your longer term chart, and then I see Bits has got a share up. I know he hasn't unmuted yet, but hey, Bits.
Yo.
Yeah.
I'm here to share the alpha whenever you're ready. I got the sauce, baby.
Well, let me set the bar really low, and then
I'm just not going to share my chart anymore. So
no, look, it's interesting. Landy, earlier you had your Bollinger Band basis, I think, was running tail end, and what's interesting is that kind of lines up in the same sort of regions as like the 50 EMA on the monthly chart.
Yes.
As well. It's quite a similar range. The one thing I was looking at this the other day, what we saw last cycle, we saw this nice, I mean, I don't want to call it an inverted hammer, but it's inverted hammer-esque, right?
Yes.
Here. And we saw a nice big bullish engulfing. Yeah.
Yep.
We have seen similar-ish price action here, right? Similar-ish.
I mean, that is an inverted hammer. That is,
yeah.
You barely have a wick to the downside.
So what do we got? We've got 9 days left. So I mean, it's these are just interesting things that, like, you know, that's not always going to be exactly the same, but like it's all looking healthy here from a monthly, right? I mean, obviously we've 9 days, a lot can happen in 9 days, but you know, there's definitely cases for calling the lows are in. Like, it's perfect. I mean, I still would. I would have preferred lower. You know, I'm not saying that that's not going to happen still, but for whatever reason, I still would have preferred a bit lower for. I was going to say like basic market health. I feel like the pivot in, and if whatever weight or bearing in weight you want to put on, like what the general consensus is on spaces, on the timeline. Obviously, there's more people on X now, and more people have seen. Did you shave the dog?
What's up, doggy? We have.
You heard the market alpha. She was like, "Hold on a minute, I haven't."
Oh, sweetie.
On this,
the dog's got a beard like Landy.
Hey, Paparoo. Yeah, man. Like, it's. I don't know why. I don't know why I still would have preferred to see these numbers. And it could just be purely me going, I feel like sentiment was turned too quickly, or there was too many people bullish at consolidation ranges on the lows. But again, it's early days. We've had a really, really positive week. And I'm happy to say, let's just see what happens, right? Because at the end of the day, like in hindsight, everything will be as obvious as it can possibly be, right? And everyone will say it was obvious. But for now, enjoy the green candles, right? And we'll see what the next couple of weeks bring us, and we can move on from there.
Well, I made a case just a little while ago while you were connecting when I was talking to Cade, and you might have caught part of it, and that is that on the quarterly, you could see a band run from one side to the other. You could see off the basis for the monthly, you could see a lower second run to the upper second, which is around the all-time high, and still not turn into a bull market. I think that we would get macro structure change though, but could you imagine, and I discussed this with Bits, could you imagine if we did run the bands on a monthly or hit bottom side to top side and stall and then come right back down and just bounce between just these gnarly ranges? There is a case to be made for that because we are in a macro compression on the quarterly. And until we see it resolve, in this case, there's only one way the quarterly can resolve in terms of a macro compression, and that is to the upside. Even if it loses the basis, which is the 20 simple at $58,000 on the quarterly, you're looking at extremely low prices as a high probability, but still in a compression, which is wild to think about, but also not that crazy when you think about how long Bitcoin has been Bitcoin, right? So it is a maturing asset, and volatility gets stripped out as the asset matures. And that's where, you hear a lot of look, I'm seeing the $1 million calls are coming back, right? Like that's $1 million. I read that not more than 10 times on the timeline today alone.
Yeah. Literally.
And it's like, why, where are you getting what? It's just a feel, it's a hope and a dream. And honestly, when you set the expectations really high, because $1 million was last cycle too. Everybody's calling $1 million is going to be $1 million Bitcoin in no time because of COVID, right? Like because of this, because of that, it's gonna be $1 million. It's going to keep running, and then 69K and boom into a bear market. So, and we've compressed, muted bull run, and because we're in the macro compression, it's one of the reasons why I said I'm going to wait for structure to break to call the bear market. I'm happy with calling the local high. If it becomes a macro high, great. 123 to 125. I'm satisfied with that call. I was looking for the bottom side Bollinger Bands at 58 to 60. But that's still, while we're still plumbing the lows, while structure is still bearish, and while this still remains just another lower low, the only thing that's going to change my mind is if we get a trend break on the monthly. That's it. We got 9 days to do it, or we have all of next month to do it. But it's got to close above there. Not a swing. I don't care how high the swing goes. It's got to close above 82.8. And then I'm looking for the scenarios of higher low, equal low, or it's a deviation and we go lower. Which is, there's a lot of people in that deviation camp that have been talking about this well before all of this has occurred. So it is going to be interesting. Bits, do you have any comments for Cade, Ash, myself?
I was gonna say, now we know what Cade's face looks like when you rant for 45 minutes.
I know, right? he's got a dog. He's petting the dog. He's like, please get me out of here.
She was listening in, and she's like, never mind, I'll take the trade tomorrow. I can't listen to this.
It's like,
he was in control of his eyelids.
No, I was lying.
I haven't seen him check his watch yet. Has he looked at it to check the time?
You're starting to get a twitch in his eye.
Y'all are lucky. Y'all the anons with the camera on.
I know we are. Look, we are the most anonymous of the anons. And look at Kate is out here just chatting it up. I mean,
Kate, you can be anon too, Kate. This is the truth. You just need a good PFP.
He's just a wolf PFP.
Oh, no, I didn't even.
No.
You gotta
up. That's horrible. No.
Yep.
A talking wolf. Maybe you need a talking wolf. I don't know.
Oh, you make the just the.
I need to know how you're getting the animated mouth though. Like I want to work out how. Yeah, it's very cool.
You got to sign up to his private community for the instructions.
Oh, is that how that works?
Yeah. It's on OnlyFans.
I was gonna like not use that one. I wasn't sure if that was kosher to use on the stream, but you did. So
no. I mean, it's OnlyFans finder. Let's see. I mean, if you really want, you can also find my Grinder profile and you can request there.
And you have a Discord as
dear.
well, right? The arena, you got a Discord.
The arena, yes. Well, the
Yeah.
arena Discord is gated, heavily gated. You have to sign up.
I'm not
for all of
familiar
the
with with Grinder. Could you give me a quick explanation, possibly? It's not something I've it's come across my desk.
Well, if you're not familiar, it is it's a dating site that you can go to, and you can be like, "Hey,
was an early investor."
I'm really into puppets, and
A seed investor.
Yeah,
and I like to stick my hands up puppets, and there you go. That's all you need to know.
Right.
This is a professional show.
this is
Yes,
professional.
very clearly.
Yes. Kate is I regret sharing this out now.
Tweet real quick, guys. Don't bother tuning in. Untune in if you can.
He's like, yeah. Trust me, I have tuned into some interesting conversations on some of those wolf trading streams.
Oh my god,
Fair
bro.
enough.
You think that the
Never
crypto
know.
traders are degenerates? Go listen to those stock traders for more than 5 minutes.
No kidding. No kidding.
And shout out
We've
to them.
become
by the
that
way.
on half our shows. I mean, a lot of the conversations surrounded by equities, like we are our own worst enemy now. We've become the opposition.
You know, the equities and crypto people clashing. Oh my god.
I mean, we've been all over, dude. We've been all over the place.
The journey.
But
It's fun.
it's hilarious. I don't
Bits.
know what I would do all day.
Bits, do you have anything that you would like to show our special guest, one Cade
Yes.
Bergman, icon,
Yes.
Cade Bergman?
Yes. Look, Cade, and to the panel.
Yes.
Congrats, by the way.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Look, I think everyone complicates TA is the truth. Everyone complicates TA.
Yeah.
All you need to do is go to Google and download one of these.
Oh no!
Once you get one of these, what you want to do, it's very easy, guys.
Oh
Like
my god.
you just kind of start figuring out like how can I fit this here to like make sense, and you just keep adjusting.
You need
until-
time frame. Just change
This
the
is
time
the,
frame.
This is not working. We're gonna have to go. We're gonna have to change
That's
time. frame.
basically the
This is
same
not
chart.
working. Hold on.
That's what I'm looking at.
This is not working. Hold on. We will get this, guys. Hold on.
It's the 3-day, I think. It's always the 3-day.
Patience. Look, it's all about patience, guys. No, this is not working. Okay, hold on. We're gonna go to the 1 hour. We will figure this out today, guys. Just give me a sec here. We're gonna get this. Where the heck is visibility? Why is this not working? Hold on,
dying over here.
guys. I lost the schematic. Oh, here it is. Okay, hold on. This is part of the process. This is part of the process where
You
it
have to
just
lose the
involves-
schematic, find it again.
It involves a lot of patience and a lot of. Hold on here, guys. We're gonna get this. Why is this not
we
adding
actually
up
are
here? Hold
When
on
they
here,
say
hold
that you
on
need to
here.
be patient as a trader, this is what they mean when you're trying to lay down the schematic on your chart to make it fit.
It only works if I leave out all of this stuff. So we're gonna leave
Yeah.
that out. Over
Yep.
Yeah, only
there.
keep the stuff that looks valid. Make sure you do that.
Yeah, that's
Hold
good
on
stuff.
here. And you
It'll
just
probably
kind of
go that
keep messing with this, and then you just keep messing with this
Yeah.
here, and eventually you just kind of get it. Hold on here. Hold on. We're getting close. I feel like we're
It's
very
almost
close
there.
here.
It's
Oh my
like
God.
No. Hold on.
Ooh, no, that's if you
Yeah.
just
Oh,
just
oh,
pinch it,
God,
make it a
hold
little
on.
bit smaller.
Hold on. Yeah, I think we might have it. Hold on. I think we're getting really close. God, look how accurate that is right there. Hold on.
Ooh. I think if you actually go into replay mode and
convinced.
then just cut some of those candles off, you might have it.
That might be the
absolutely
way. Oh my God, we're just gotta eliminate some of this data to make this fit. And look, we'll put it behind. I'm gonna only share this to my subscribers though, because this stuff is so good. This is like
could
the
cut
alpha.
Do you have the ISM overlay that you could possibly add to this?
I don't have the ISM and the M2 ready to go, but I'm gonna work on that next. But that's probably gonna be gated for subs only.
I agree.
That's too much.
God.
Alpha.
Understandable.
That's
Yeah.
way too much
And it
alpha
so
to
should
be
be.
putting out here. Yeah.
oh my
Agreed.
god.
Have you thought about maybe only streaming free indicators on your paid behind your paywall?
Oh, I'm dead.
Oh man.
Oh, how about even better? How about going and grabbing a bunch of trend spider indicators
Yes.
and then buying the low tier package and then paywalling it 4 times as high behind your own subscriber button.
Oh,
These are all sounding like really good business opportunities to
I'm
me.
sure they cook. Unfortunately,
That they do actually. People are cooking with it.
Or they make bank.
Dude,
This is the bull market.
my favorite right now though is just like the I don't know how to like put it other than the fact that people that have been wrong this entire time for almost a year, people that have been wrong for almost an entire year are now doing the bears are wrong. See, I told you it was going to bounce, but they're calling the bounce here. They're calling the bounce there. They were calling the bounce there. They were calling the bounce there. This was running to 100K. This was running to 100K. Even that was going back up to 250K.
All-time high. It was going to be 250 or 500.
All
there's some great timeline posts that you can put on that chart and just laugh.
I was gonna say, I feel like this is probably collecting some screenshots right around.
Oh, I am. Yeah, dude. It's just wild. It blows my mind. It just blows my mind.
I'm seeing some serious confidence, like serious confidence right now from the Bitcoiners.
How can these guys?
I thought we need to go a little higher. I thought we need to be a little higher before we saw that. I did not expect this type of hopium this fast.
This is why I actually think we might go a little bit higher, though. Actually, is
interesting.
I think even if you pull back here, I'm curious to see what happens on a pullback to like 72, 73 right here. Maybe even a little bit below that. I think you could probably sweep some of this and see what happens. But you know what was interesting, and I covered this with Lady Trader earlier, and I'll try and do it quickly here. But in this last range here, I saw a lot of good traders, like good traders that have been consistent, that have earned my follow. That during this move up, I think a lot of them were long positioned, but they said, look, once it comes up here above like 80K, I'm flipping short because this is still a downtrend, and I'm gonna hit it to the downside, right? Like a lot of them were saying this. And what to me was wild, dude, is that watching them above, and I remember it's a very defined area, and it was right here. They were confident in, I'm going to short this thing. 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 And even their invalidation was like above here, right? Their invalidation was above 90K basically. And they were saying, yep, this thing can come all the way up here, even into the mid 80s. And it's still going to roll over. Like it's inevitable. It's going to roll over because the high time frame structure hasn't changed, blah, 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 blah.
And they were right.
They were 100% right. And something happened right here.
Yep.
Something happened right here in this little blue candle that the gentleman suite is highlighting, that suddenly these guys that were shorting and had already started building positions here with clear invalidation above there were something happened here, dude. The weirdest thing, that on this little push above these highs over here, they said, you know what? I must have been wrong. This trend is too strong, and I'm going long. And it happened right here. Yeah. And it was the weirdest thing, right at the freaking dude. And it was like, you're telling me that you were accurately looking at all of this. You had a plan. You were stoic about the whole thing. You were on the right side. And for some reason, this little push right here with volume that you got here at the beginning of May, it was like a $3,000 move, and it caused them. It led them to abandon the whole thing, and it caused them to get on the
doubt crept in, huh?
Dude, doubt crept in, and they got on the wrong side. And so what was funny is this is what I was talking to Tuesday in that clip that I keep referencing, but this right here, this was climbing up in this choppy way because people were shorting it. This is effectively nice pump, and then people started shorting, and you started just you moving up, right? People were shorting, people were long and shorting, and it was just trading blows, and it was going higher. Here, though, is where you finally saw that bear capitulation that said, screw it, I'm going long. Boom, you got some volume. And this is when the longs stepped in. Finally, people started long on the top, and then that's when you were able to flip the trend the other way, right? I'm still waiting for that to happen over here, right? So I'm asking myself, where's the level where that makes sense? And to me, it's the level that you guys have been talking about, which is on a move effectively above that same area again. I think if we dip back up in that or even a little bit above it, I think right now everyone who's been trying to short this, because I'm still seeing a lot of folks shorting this, and I've been saying like, nope, it's not. I'm not shorting this.
It's not ready.
There's nothing here that is saying weakness. Nothing here is saying.
Did Frank ever say he got in on any successful shorts, or
no? Even he had no luck. No luck, right? So it's just this is just not something to short. There's nothing here.
Yeah.
And what I suspect though is the same thing's going to happen because everyone's looking at this area up here. Everyone is looking at that same structure, Landy, and they're saying exactly what you were saying earlier, which is like, dude, if we flip this here, like if we get above this, oh my God, like we're so back and we're so going higher, right? And so I suspect if there is an area where we're going to get people to abandon their current logic-based analysis that they have, it's going to be around here where that doubt will creep in. And that is where I'm paying attention for the potential that, okay, if it's going to have some kind of reversal, where could that pivot happen? And I think it would be around there, slightly above that, because it's a huge area. It's a huge area right here. You get above that. This is where, if there is to be a trap move and a liquidity grab, that's where it's likely to happen, and then potentially set up for that kind of move like that. So it
is different price action, though. We have to. It's very clearly different.
This is super impulsive. This is super impulsive right now. Yes, it's entirely different. 100%.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
Well, fast moves tend to get eaten up, right? Yeah. So this can continue to
tell me one time that's ever happened, right? Tell me one time. I don't think I've ever seen that.
Yeah, I mean, it's not staring us in the face if he inverts the chart right there on every single bear move down and then the retest back up. So
it's a lovely nose picker, though, isn't it? Look at that. Yeah, that's looking for blood.
Look at that 12-month rolling VWAP right there.
Yep,
right at the top of that area. And I mentioned this on the stream with Lady Trader that you have these three key rolling VWAPs: the quarterly, the 6-month, and the 12-month. And after we lost them all, after the bull market was over, you could see here that in the first range, we went up and retested the quarterly from the underside. The second time we went up and we retested the 6-month from the underside. It just seems to me like that coming up and rejecting with from the 12-month makes a lot of sense. If there is a move lower, it's like, why would I not be looking for that? Right. So yeah, I think there's a lot of people that are right now with a lot of anticipation waiting for this to roll over because they want to short it because they missed the pump or because they want to just catch an amazing short, and I don't blame them. But I think they're being a little bit premature because there is no weakness in any of this. There's absolutely no reason to be jumping short in front of this. This is crazy. Yeah. And so I'm looking up here. I'm saying like, man, could this do something similar to here where it goes up even slightly above it, and then we see that weakness show up, right?
Are the maxis, like, are they surprised that you guys are able to hold this thesis, like that you aren't just like,
dude, they can't listen. Their brains can't listen for enough time to process any of this stuff. Like it's just there's no way. They're incapable of it.
They were like all the way up until 2 days ago. We had maxis in our spaces listening. As soon as we started to go back up, they went right back to the maxi spaces. I was like, goodbye.
Yeah. No, dude,
I don't need tea anymore.
It's crazy how fast that little shot of green candles will do what Ash is calling to get them drunk, like bull drunk. Yeah. It's crazy.
Look, this move will retrace itself. It's just a matter of to what degree, and then you can gauge strength, right? Wherever the next higher low is, and it can continue getting expansion, right? This is the target overhead. So I've drawn here just. It's the swing low of the higher low at 74.4 to that 82.5. And what everybody was looking for once you saw, and I don't have fancy gentleman suite indicator stuff on here, but
Ash, how have you not hooked this guy up with a
I can hook you up Landy. But I need the Landy bands.
The Landy
yes,
bands.
I will. Yep. I'll give you the version I'm working on behind the scenes actually. But this move up, this candle right here is the one that he identified. It was Monday, May 4th.
Yes, that's the one.
Yep. And it was because it was a mixture of May the 4th be with you and Bitcoin's going to the moon memes. With all of this and this bottom side was the monthly retest, right?
Yeah.
So this was just this higher low retest, this entire zone. So we had originally rejected off of it, which was the swing. We came back down. We started to form structure, beautiful structure in and around, again, 62.5 off the lows, just like we did recently. And this was 62.5 off of this low side here, 62.5 right here. As it related to 60K, we got 65, right in here.
Yep.
And then we moved up and we finally broke above. And more importantly, we started to hold it, swung a lot down below it. For me, I was still long through here. I was still long through here.
I think a lot of us
I started to actually, so when we came back down, I was taking profits on the long because I was filling out shorts at 80K or so, 78 to 80K. And I was willing to short it up to the monthly and even up to the next zone. This is a, this is a weekly close in this next zone from this candle structure over here. It's a weekly close that's highlighted. And this is actually where you could potentially see, and I'm not looking for something exactly like this. This move can still push higher on its current move up without a correction. We could see smaller corrections down in lower term timeframes, but in terms of daily candles off of the 62.5, you could still see a move up, right? And then you can get that move back down and into this area in the monthly would be really strong. Low, the upper first is gonna be there, but that would be my worst case scenario. I wouldn't want to see it mean revert too much back to below 70K, but that's where then it's got to come back up, and then you could potentially see the actual weeklies in here in the primary zone where we have this lower high before the breakdown and run that 90,000, that $89,000 to $90,000 area. And the reason that I bring up 89 to 90 is on the weeklies. We had 89 to 90 was this is the monthly, sorry, want the weeklies. 89 to 90 is right there. This was a lower high at 89. You can call this 89 higher low to lower high, pull it to the left here, and you've got the confluent zones over here. This is what I was looking at the time. And I remember talking to you guys about this, right? That these areas that I was looking at retracing back to if we started to break above, but only if we broke above and closed above 82.5. And we did not get a close above it. We closed below it. We did swing above it though. But this was, higher low structure. And I'll just get rid of the bands because they're a little bit in the way. But this is where things were very interesting because when we were coming down, right, we essentially we hit this close open at 80K. This was perfectly in line with this wick low at 80K, and I was looking for 78 to 80. You got 78 is the swing. You have 80 here. Or you have close to close. You had the swing down. You had the close at 80. You had the close at 78. You have 76, and then you have 74. So 2K at a time on these lows, essentially, right? And then we had the lower high that came in at essentially 89, right? 89 higher low, lower high. This was the midpoint of the range. It was also retested on the breakdown, and this was the area that I was going to be looking next. It was essentially 84 to 90 to kind of swing it as a range. I could absolutely see this on closes above on the daily 82.5, 82.8 region. I could see it doing that and just correcting back down and then trying back up for that range. And I'll be honest with you, if we close above that monthly at 82.8, I said this earlier, I don't know if you're watching bits, that does shift things for me because it's a trend break if we close the monthly above there. That's my real big stipulation and sticking point. It doesn't mean that the low is in, but a trend break is significant because it is a change of character on a monthly time frame. Any close above $76,000 coming into the monthly close is going to be a low set, and that's it, just a lower low. But if we close a lower low and we get a trend break, that is significant.
Landy, I'm already seeing posts of people saying, unless we hit a a black swan or something, or unless something catastrophic happens, like the bottom is in. And there's even people saying that they're already celebrating for having called the cycle low. I've already this is my third cycle low that I nail. Already, like there's people saying like,
so third cycle
wild.
low that they nailed, but it's also the fifth or sixth time that they've called this particular cycle low, because they called it 100,000.
Those posts are deleted. Those posts don't exist anymore.
You are correct. Those posts by and large do not exist anymore, but they were calling for 100K low. They were calling for 90, 85, 80, 60, 5, 70 area, all of it. And then, when we were talking about, and I think that I wasn't the only one looking for 58 to 60, right? Like you guys were talking about this on stage with me on the bigger move down anywhere below 80. So these are not, they're technical levels that
they're areas. Yeah, they're key areas that were on the chart.
Literally the same people that were calling the low every low was the macro low. Then referred to these levels like, oh, it's the 200 and on the weekly. Oh, it's this particular mathematical projection. It's this, it's that. This is why I'm right now. Well, look, 1 out of 5 times to get it right. Maybe start questioning, their accuracy on some of these things.
I'm pretty sure I'm on record saying the low was going to be $57,755.80.
I
have to go back and check, but
I'll be honest with you. I know that you're joking when saying that, but I might actually go and troll your timeline just to see, because there might actually be a good chance that you did talk about that. And if you did, that's hilarious, by the way.
I want to show you guys this, right? Because this is actually interesting. Because I think it was Tony's looking for sort of circa low 90s, right? I think is that sort of that range that he was talking about.
Low 90s.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is our bottom from the last cycle.
By the way, that's the zone that I was just showing.
It is true. So last cycle. So if you think about I don't know if replay is going to work here, but anyway, what you're looking at here is, so this is obviously our last impulse point for the end of the bear, followed by consolidation, and then our impulsive move up to effectively set the lows, right? Yeah. And this is sort of playing out in a similar way at the moment. Not exactly the same, as they never do, but you see that big impulsive push, and what did they do? They pushed up circa 30-odd%, right, into and starting to wick into that previous range high, right? Which is effectively that flipping point that we're sort of talking about. But if you look at here, like they didn't really have a pullback until way up here, right? So they actually ran effectively another. That's not the same tool. Gosh, where's the? I lost the tool. Where did it go? This one.
Which one?
This one. So they actually ran another 25% before we saw this. This was the first. This was the one that everyone was panicking a bit about, right? Because that was like oh no, we're going back down to the lows, right? Because that was a pretty scary. I think this might have been some war chat, if memory serves. Am I right there? I can't remember. But like, if you look at that, wicks into it, but the consolidation is all we got, and then it kept on continuing, right, until the eventual retest, and then that was it. But when you look at where we are now, it's actually kind of similar, and that sort of would be almost to like what I think sort of what Bits is talking about. If we were gonna, like, we may not necessarily see it come that deep for a while. It could do that move, come up into that resistance point, just consolidate a bit, and then do that, right? Get everyone. And that's when they start, and that's when they do that, right? Yeah. Which would be way more like, oh no, we thought we were above it, but we're not. And that, to me, mate, that might actually be a bit more of a dirty way to do it, but you can see the reasoning why. So I'm a little more open to that now. I was hoping to see a tap and then a deeper pullback, but we've got precedent where they can definitely take it much higher before they give the oh no, are we really bottoming, or have we already bottomed, versus the oh no, this has just been a fake out and we are kind of come down to the lower prices. So I'm actually a little bit more open to that now. I hadn't thought about that until Bits talked about that and you guys talked about that. But now you go back and you look at the the chart history, there is some historical basis to look at something like that. So, I mean, that's good for the bulls because that means they could be looking at another sort of 10-15% move in the next couple of weeks, right, before anything significant happens. But again, I mean, let's see what happens. It's interesting to theorize with.
We have how many days left in the? We got what, like 10 days or something like that left in the month.
9 to 10 days.
9
9
depending
to
on-
10 days.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, the most dirty thing would be if it gets above that going into month end, and then you walk it back for the close, and you end up closing below that. That would be dirty. And then you open the new month with a move back above, only to just come down.
Yeah,
Right.
good liquidity cleanup. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be sick.
I actually I agree with both of your assessments on this, and I know that you guys probably jumped in when I was streaming with Tony, because he has, he's been looking for this move up for a while. He's got projections kind of right into that weekly zone we just discussed, right? And then a essentially a deviation of macro trend, right? So if we closed above the monthly, and I don't remember if I asked him this, the structural change if it occurred on a monthly, if it would change his opinion. But what I did hear him say is, where his invalidation was, right? And that's essentially in the upper 90s, 98,000 area, right? Getting above that next high.
He's got some kind of megaphone pattern going on or something, I think, right? Something akin to this.
He's got, if you've got a pattern, he's got a pattern for you.
Yeah.
He's got like 1,500 different ways of looking at price. And honestly, he does it technically to the T.
It amazes me that he knows so many of these systems, though, and so many of the different frameworks. He knows them intimately.
He does. And honestly, it's the confluence between the frameworks that he's using that do paint the picture that he can support it with data, right? Like there's no arguing with his data. He's got the right data. It's just a matter of, does it play out in that direction? That's why he's got an invalidation. That's why I have, invalidation of 58 to 60 is what? It is going to be, if we trend break and then put in a higher low, we're invalidation of that becoming a macro low area of interest is any kind of close below there on a monthly time frame that breaches $55,000 on any significant time frames close, because not only are you losing major levels on quarterly and monthly, you're getting expansion, but on a weekly you're losing the lows in an expansive manner. With this move up, though, that will change things on the weekly. So it is going to be intensely interesting to watch this move from a weekly perspective, especially when it comes to Bollinger Bands. So, and look, we're nerds. Cade,
I know.
you hang out with us nerds so much. And I got to ask you this, Cade, do you find yourself actually getting on there and taking a crayon, drawing a few lines here and there, and then chomping on it a little bit, or
it's rare. For me, like I said, I have like longer term swing trades that make sense for me. I would like to get Bitcoin at those lower prices. That'd be sick.
Landy, he doesn't need to draw lines when we're doing all the drawing for him.
Well,
already.
I will say there is something to be said about if you're an expert TA guy, like that is your lane. Like that is how you make money. That is how you cook. Mm-hmm. And it's not something you can just like. I can't just operate on Bits and Wells level of TA because I feel like it. Like that is literally years and years and years and years of wins and losses and studying the market the way he has. So it makes no sense for me to come out and give like an expert opinion because I'm literally not an expert. I've had a couple of years where I do play around with trading. But for me, I have certain levels where I'm like, yeah, those would be good for longer term purchases, more from an investing side for me. I'm not trading these markets as much, but the reason I love the daily spaces is because it gives me like an ability to keep my head and my wits about me. Mm-hmm. Like I said, I don't feel nothing. Like when we go up or down, I'm like, I feel very, very like stoic within the markets, I guess. And it allows me to not capitulate either direction. But I admittedly, I'm more of an investor than I'm a day trader. So
yeah.
So well, see, I moved to less trading during the bull market personally. Like I trade more in the bear.
Yes.
In the bull market, I'll be like my trading cadence will drop significantly because there's just, I mean, I'll still trade just because it's good to keep the tools sharp, but I find trading to be a lot more rewarding, at least in the bear for me. Because I mean, in the bull, ideally, it's a sit on your spot bags, that you've tried to build. At least that's what I tend to do anyway.
Well, ranges. I think there's something to be
Yeah.
said about like when you get a range, you go into trade mode, and then when you're trending, you're sitting in positions. I mean, like I sent Kate a DM, but I took positions last week, right? And it's just like now I've been waiting to close them and taking profits. It's just it's all it is. You set the position and then you wait. I don't day trade on the level that Crank does, but occasionally I'll take a few day trades if it's ranging, if the price action's right. If I need to make an extra buck, like whatever, you do it. But I prefer to do the ones where it's like I know there's going to be a move coming, even if it's within a range. And even this, you could argue that this is within a range. The range is currently 83K to 57K. That's the range, and it's like I'm trading the bottom of the range to the top of the range, possibly, right? So, and you just let it play out.
But the ranges are huge, by the way. Like, and there are certain points, like in the with the charts, where I'm like, dude, there's tons and tons. Like we should come back down here. Like that makes total sense. And for me, like I'll tune into this, whether it's Bits of Wealth or Landy's. If I'm like, okay, does this make sense? Like I think this makes sense. But also we do the shows like daily, and so like we kind of are aware of we're kind of aware of the medium targets and longer term targets. So for me, like it can't change because I'm like it wouldn't change. That just is the target. And so for me, it really, really is about just like not capitulating. So I think if you go long enough where you're going to, because like for most of us, we're staying on the timeline, even if we say we're going to walk away, like people are like, we're pretty much still on the timeline. I see a ton of capitulatory behavior, and it just doesn't make any sense. Cause like every single solid investor and trader I know says the only game is staying in the game. And so that's all I'm trying to do. I'm trying not to go down in network.
Do you do like a dynamic DCA based on the trading information that you get? Like when we're all very excited about a potential low, do you add more, or are you just kind of automated and it doesn't matter?
Actually, I followed you a couple times in. Like I know that for sure. There's a couple times where I even sent screenshots. They're on Ostium actually. But yeah, I mean, I will sometimes, but I'm definitely like a longer term swing trader, like much longer,
bags, right?
Yeah, like a lot more spot bags. But I have traded the perps. I have no problem trading them. I've done OTG style. I did OTG strategy for like 2-ish months, probably when I was in the second apartment in Puerto Rico. So that would have been like a year ago, maybe. So I tried last year. Strategy is intense. I was like on the charts. I was like, whoa, this is like
the blood sacrifice trading that he does.
Yeah. I had a couple crazy moves, and I was like, dude, this is wild. And then I had a couple that just like killed me, and I was like, dude, it really is about risk management.
You had a couple meme plays on Robinhood also that you got into.
I had a solid meme plays. Couple of round trips as well. It is what it is.
Name of the game, man.
Yeah. But it's like the name of the game is to stay in the game. Like there will be another opportunity later on. There will be an entry later on. I also think it's really fun because like I've always had suspicion with Bitcoin that, especially after we saw it come down from the all-time highs when everyone said it was impossible, I was like, it would be really interesting. And Bits has brought this up and some others too. It's like, could we see a scenario where Bitcoin has a gold type of long accumulation where it's just is boring? And I'm like, I'm also mentally preparing as an investor for all those circumstances and trying to just make a bit of a general list of assets that makes sense for me to, if you're going to be, spot buying and building those long term. But dude, like there's no reason not to take some swing trades here and there, even if you're not someone super active in day trading. You guys are like you said, you guys all find it different ways, but if everyone on the panel is agreeing, I'm like, we have seriously, or not we, but like the analysts, like the entire Wolf crew and many others, just like really scary on point to where I'm like, dude, all this stuff is based off the price. Like everything's based off price. If the Iran thing happened where everyone's like, we're going to accept Bitcoin at $120,000, I mean, that would have been absolutely nuclear. It would have been insane, the amount of hopium and all that stuff. But it happened in a bear market, so like almost nobody cared. It was wild to see. And so like for me, it's more about growing as an investor in that arena and trying to still grow the brand online and not lose my head about me.
Yep.
So that's where like these spaces are honestly like super invaluable to me personally too.
Yep. Same to me, to be quite honest with you. And I've mentioned this to you and many others, because you need the perspective, or you do. And David's been talking to me about this. Is like, he's asked me like openly, do you feel like you have tunnel vision? Do you think that the low is in or not? Or I said, no, I'm a conditions based trader. I trade the trend first.
Convictions.
I'm a
convictions based.
I'm a convictions play. So as everybody knows, that makes perfect sense. And look, I know Kate's got to get out of here, and I really do appreciate you coming on. It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me on your stage on a regular basis.
Love to have you.
And obviously, thank you for jumping in, Ash and Bits. It's always great to see you guys. I love what you guys do, and respect the hell out of you guys as well.
Likewise, man.
And
real quick, one like thing on the sorry, just to jump in for a few seconds. One from the TS. I forget if it was Ash or Bits who said it a minute ago, but like you really can keep it simple. Like I know, like I've seen bad prices stuff. Dude, that is a complicated situation. Also, I don't know what I was thinking. Right before the bad price, I was like, brother, what? Like I remember like the early days. I was doing streams with like with Bits and Dom a lot. And honestly, and I had spent a couple years learning like these institutional candles. I forget what it was called. It was Smart Money Concepts.
Smart Money Concepts.
Yes,
I learned. But honestly, when Bits showed me like the ranges and he showed me and made me do them, I remember being like, wow, this is like potentially all you need. Actually, I think like seriously, kind of like all you need. Like if you're aware, and then you can zoom in if you want to take a trade. But like you can keep it pretty simple. Actually, you don't have to have every single indicator and look for a million different things. Like you can keep it simple and really have success. And honestly, a ton of traders do that. You know, if you pick a couple assets and you're watching them like a hawk, you're really going to learn how they move, and you're going to have confidence when you trade them. So I think it can actually be done like that. You know,
dude, Popeye, the stream I did with Popeye this week, was it this week or last week?
It was really good.
Did you stream with
this
Popeye?
week? Yeah,
I streamed with Popeye. You got to go back and watch it.
Really?
Dude, Popeye is that guy is.
He's on it. Eh?
He's a beast. He's
Was he on the
boat? He was on the boat, man. He was in the marina. He was in the marina. He was in the marina.
Floating around.
But no, dude, Popeye.
That dude's good.
Landy,
He's very good.
need to bring Popeye on this show, because I think your audience would benefit from it, dude. That guy is an incredible, not just a trader and analyst, but also an educator. I mean, there's, and look, I'm not tooting my own horn, but I know that I have a unique combination of things, as does everyone else here. And a few other people, but it's like, it's rare that you can find people that understand the market, are well-spoken, and can articulate what it is that you do. And they can also teach others. Like those three things are tough, because you might be articulate about what you're doing, but you suck at educating other people. You're not able to hand that down to other people. Right. Or you're really great at trading, but you can't define how it is that you do what you do. So I'm telling you, it's a rare combination to have those talents combined, and I don't take that for granted, and I work very hard at it. But Popeye has it. Popeye has it at an extreme level when it comes to the education. He's fantastic. He's amazing.
He has some good rules that he follows, though.
Yeah,
I would love to bring him on. I gotta add him to the group, and it's more about timing, because I don't even know where the hell he is floating around right now.
Right? He's like 10 hours, like 7 or 8 hours ahead of us.
Yeah,
it looks like Greece. Yeah,
probably like 12 hours ahead for you.
Yeah, I'll have to do maybe like with him and Mr. Spread. I'm gonna have to do like a recorded, and then maybe stream it, and stream the recording, and then chat with the chat.
Sure.
Look, I've been impressed with him every time that we've talked. I've seen, his charting style and stuff like that. Like, he's really good, and he understands. More importantly, it's people, when you understand the underlying fundamentals of why these systems were created, you can do a really good job of explaining. Well, people like him. Look, I look at Bits this way, Ash, and all of the people that we really associate with in the Wolf Market Talk and trader spaces. So, look, it's it's very rare, Cade. It is very rare to curate the kind of stage that you have. It's because ego is a big thing. Because there's really good traders out there and really good educators, but they have an ego.
Yeah.
And ego typically takes them in a direction where they want to do their own thing, right? And I don't blame them, right? Yet, but you've done such a fantastic job. And realistically, any of my followers, if you aren't already following Cade, the Wolf Bitcoin account, if you aren't following Bits and Ash, and just about all of the people that jumped in the chat that I saw that are traders, you should be following
and
all of them.
All of them can and maybe should do. Like it just depends what they want. Like it's like any relationship. Like you have to be prepared and ready and supportive if they do end up saying I'm going to go do my thing. It's like,
yes,
I'm not going to stop you. I can't stop you. I don't want to stop you. Like thanks for everything. Like while you were here, kind of thing. Like I think if you operate like that and like you said, like you keep the audience like best interest at heart, and you're like, okay, like it is important that at the top that people were calling for a great entry at 120K and they let all these people astray and then didn't admit it. Like that actually does matter if you're going to keep bringing them on your panels. Like you got to be careful about that. But it's like everyone here is a person. Like even though everyone's a PFP, it's like you have to be. I mean, it's like they're coming on the show. Like yes, the everyone grows on the spaces and stuff like that. But it is what it is. Like if you want to have a good relationship, you want everyone to grow. You want to find ways to support everyone. It's awesome because like part of the game is social media too. Like even if you're a trader, like that's why some people do the stream, some people will post the charts and stuff. But you get crazy opportunities on the media side too, and like hopefully you become like an analyst for a specific someone with lots of money kind of thing, or a specific company, or you get something like Bits has with Slice, which is awesome. It's like another avenue to share more alpha, to open up another revenue source. Like there's tons of opportunities there. You never know what happens. Like I couldn't have predicted which direction Wolf would go. I didn't know the Wolf Financial side would go heavier into ETFs, 2 years ago. But that's where we are. I didn't know Wolf Bitcoin would grow, in the past year from posting. I didn't even plan on posting, and now I'm posting like 30 times a day. So you kind of just have to like roll with the punches and just kind of go from there.
Well, it's going to be fun to watch when mainstream media starts inviting you on to talk about things because
I got to say
you could do it.
I don't know. I went on that one time with it was I can't remember if I told you guys. Some very strange things happened like in that arena. I was like, you know what, I'm good. I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna go for TV mode and like try and get on these. I'm good. I'm not interested at all.
Looks like we're gonna have
like
to
once in a blue moon if it's somebody I know or someone I trust, or if it's like, hey, like if there's an opportunity like that, maybe. But there were some very strange things that happened. I was just like, nah, I'm good.
Dude, how long before mainstream media is interviewing talking puppets on TV?
I don't know. I'm torn on that one. They'll talk to you. You got Doxy and you got David. He's down. I mean, that guy's basically traditional media, right?
Well, I mean, he has a presence there and had a presence there and still does. Yeah. Look, there's been others in the Goxstein media I guess tree that have come from that arena to Goxstein media and then gone back to that arena and vice versa. Look, I've had a lot of opportunities, I'll put it that way, to be a talking puppet on TV, but not wearing a PFP. And it is not not something that I'm interested in. One, you're not making money, right? Yeah. You are the guest. You're not pay unless you're going to be a guest on like a regular panel show. You're not getting paid. You're not getting a paycheck, right? Yeah. So, and I don't have a product to sell, right? And what am I going to do? Go on there and sell you Bitcoin? Like you got?
I've never seen Landy and Tom Lee in the same room.
Oh my God!
Tom Lee today, totally different.
Yo, have we seen Tom Lee's hair since?
I'm looking at the puppet and I can see a resemblance actually. Now that I'm looking at the puppet's like facial structure. I mean, I don't know.
Wait, I'll make a meme right now for Tom Lee.
There is a reason why I'm wearing a crown. It's covering up all of the crazy hair underneath.
Dude, he's gonna have a perm and all kinds of crazy stuff happening now.
And he's got shades on, so his eyes won't give him away.
Exactly. And you know what's
No.
funny? What's actually really funny about that is still in Bitcoin, bitches. So, hey, look, Cade, I really appreciate you coming on. It's a pleasure, and I'm glad that you're able to make it on.
Oh, yeah.
I
Yeah, this is a
appreciate.
good one, kid. Yeah.
Yeah, this is awesome. We should probably do a non-TA thing at some point with I should do a show that's non-TA where we just kind of chat and discuss some things, but it's a little
Toxic
weird when I am
masculinity.
just a talking PFP.
Toxic masculinity. Oh,
Toxic
man. Well,
masculinity.
I
And
talked
dad jokes.
today. I said like we're gonna do a Wolf Canada panel, like probably once a
Yep.
week or once a month or something like that. I think it'd be funny, like a meme. Maybe I'm not sure if I'll put on Wolf Bitcoin, but maybe Wolf Crypto will do a meme type of thing. Like there's like honestly like all sorts of like different, like we could do one on masculinity. I think honestly like I'm glad Bits. I don't know why Bits felt the need to go hard on masculinity the last 2 months, but it was great timing. I'll tell you what, great timing for that.
Great timing?
Yes, very great timing.
Yeah, well,
so
I mean, we
good.
see the glow. So we see the glow. Yep.
Yes.
So and
Look at this
we're
guy.
happy for
Just
you.
Look at him.
We're happy for you.
Congratulations.
So, well, we're gonna wrap that up. I appreciate everybody that tuned in, and for all of yous that are gonna be all of yous. Yeah, I can.
I was gonna say that, but I was gonna let it
all of yous
slide.
guys. Hey, you guys.
I'll use.
Hey, you guys. It's man, I just dated myself.
But
with
you
that
need a
reference.
script. You need the congratulations, guys. Thank you so much for
Yep.
coming. Like you need the. You know,
I gotta do something. You know what's funny is I get
Yeah.
into like hangout mode though. I
Yeah,
get into
I
hangout
know.
mode because it is that
This
way.
isn't
but-
late night with Landy, is it?
You'd
It's-
think
you
we'd
know,
be
I should
tired
do
of
it.
hanging out with each other though, because we hang out all
Think.
day.
You
Nah.
think?
But yeah.
Nah,
don't know.
it's like hanging out with friends. Look, I don't have the luxury of being able to go out to the bar and hang with my friends anymore.
Yeah.
Most of them actually sit in the audience in the spaces, and they come to the streams anyway, and they just sit in there and under anonymous PFPs and
Of course.
silently judge us all. So, but look, I want everybody to for Replay Gang, I hope you all have a great weekend. For everybody that was here, and of course for the guests today, thank you. Have a great weekend, but more importantly, have a wonderful morning, afternoon, and evening, no matter where you are in the world. Please trade safe, and of course, as always, and above all, stay safe, because that's all you got at the end of the day. And with that, we're out. Take care.
Brother.